Hey everyone, it's Son of Beast, and I'm here with my next broadcast partner, and this time, it's Test Tube. That's right, fellas. Welcome back, and we're ready to get started for the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs as it continues during the postseason. The next matchup, as the first round is complete, we're now going to be seeing the best of 5 for a 3-game win series. Now, therefore, we've got the next great matchups, the rematch between Minnesota and Colorado, as you guys already seen things before from a couple seasons, but now therefore they rematch again. As you can see, Colorado Avalanche are not always a better team to have that one pursuitable, but the only thing is they have to try to see if they can win it or Minnesota to take things over. It's not an easy choke for it if you wanted to play afterwards, but therefore they want to have revenge. So this is another opportunity for the Avalanche facing against Minnesota. Tonight's starting goaltenders we have is Mackenzie Blackwood for the Colorado Avalanche, and for the Wilds is Eric Gustafsson for their team. Here are the X-Factor players as we start with Minnesota, the visiting team of the night. We have Quinn Hughes. He has the Ely Edges along with the second win and ascended pass on the breakout. Kirill Kaprizov with the wheels along with the quick release he has done with his receptiveness on the shot. Matthew Boldy with the quick release and the deceptive quick shots and pressure. Brock Faber with the Ely Edges in the second win along with the tape-to-tape zones on the pass flow effectiveness. Matt Zuccarello, the send it and the tape-to-tape. Jonas Brodin, wheels, stick 'em up and quick picks. He's effortless on the interceptions and making some quick changes to have the pickup zone action. Then it's Joel Eriksson Ek, the no contest in the Warrior zone. Then it's Jared Spurgeon, stick 'em up and quick pick. Jacob Middleton, stick 'em up and quick pick. Velesmir Tarasenko, only the quick release. Then it's Nick Foligno, born leader and a spark plug. Then it's Marcus Foligno, Trulensis in the Warrior. And lastly, Yakov Trenin. He makes a Trulensis on the destructive shoulder checks. Now let's go the other way. This time, we welcome in the Avalanche. Starting is Nathan McKinnon. He has the wheels with the quick release and the ankle breaker. Cale Makar, who has the Ely Edges in a second win, he also has that quick release zone. Martin H's with the wheels and the tape-to-tape zones. With Nazem Kadri, he has the ankle breaker, spark plug, and the no contest zones. Mackenzie Blackwood is your starting goaltender. He makes a terrific sponge and limited rebounds. Devin Toews with the Ely Edges with the send it and stick 'em up. Then it's Arturi Lehkonen, the big tipper in a no contest zone. Then it's Velesier Nuchishkin, the quick release in the big tipper. Then it's Josh Manson, Trulensis and the destructive shoulder checks. And lastly, we have this Gabriel Landeskog, big tipper and born leader. So there you have it. These are your starting lineups for the start of the second round of the Western Conference of the tournament of this matchup. Well, it's time to get into action. My next broadcasting partner, as I welcome in, is Terry Crews. He's also along with the others. And joining us this time, well, we've got a big action here, and this is all changing it out to be Apollo, and in the third commentary of the crew, Boomer. And tonight's for center ice, give a hugest and a warm welcome over is Zoe True. We'll see you folks later here for the first, second, and the post-game show. Once this period is over, you'll see what the witness happens. Now the second round starts right now as we continue the playoffs. Wilds, Avs, next on EA Sports. A Mile High, Colorado. I'm Terry Crews, and I'm here with my broadcasting partners with the two. This is one of the next rounds of the game, round 2. Along with my broadcast partners, along with Boomer, and of course the other hand, we welcome you to the second round of the playoffs. We start things here as the puck drop is underway here in Colorado. Start off, it's Cale Makar. He'll send things over. He'll find over to Martin H's. Martin H's starts with a little swing and a couple. finds toes, he looks over to Cale Makar, and he looks over to Arturi Lekkonen. Tonight's starting goaltenders for the second round, it's Phil Gustafson. And for the Colorado Avs, we have is Mackenzie Blackwood. As the first save happens to be Phil Gustafson, here's Brock Faber. Brock Faber with a switch move, with a fire shot range. Start off with a huge save here by Mackenzie Blackwood. Pass is broken here by Minnesota. Here's another pass over. Now he finds Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes looks in a temple step, and he makes a save here by Blackwood. A lot of start big actions here in Colorado as they're trying to look for their first goals. For my broadcast partners, I give a warm welcome to Apollo, and the other side of it is Boomer. What do you have of us, and what do you see as what the second round's going to be? Well, the startup is going to be anybody. I am super excited to see this one. The benefit of this play happened to be with anybody, but only one can definitely change it all. Mighty does state that Minnesota is a powerful team, but the Avalanche, they're one of the best teams. They cannot be losing it down, and one of the big central matchups happened to be with only the clear range it takes. They really have done a lot of big perceptions. No better play than that could ever do for them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm really excited to see this. That Cale Makar, Josh Benson, Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and so many other great players. I'm really super excited to see what the second round is going to be. But hopefully on that, they'll have to change it whatever it takes on. Let's see who does the best.
Here's Gabriel Landeskog. The pass is broken up, and Matthew Baldy with the rebound. The Wilds go back in the offensive zone, and that would have skipped it over. Great save by Mackenzie Blackwood. We'll stop it here with only 16:34 remaining in the first period. Big change-off happens to be with only the last couple of plays that we've seen the Avalanche facing against the Wilds in the last couple of postseasons here in the second round. Since Minnesota Wilds have already beaten against the Winnipeg Jets, their chances was moving on to the second round to this competition. This better matchup doesn't really mean to anything. But playing against the others was really hard at risk. How do you see afterwards here for Minnesota there, guys? Well, Minnesota was a harder team to have one receptive. You know, everybody does that. I mean, when everything goes in, you have to play it well. He scores! First goal in the second round, Nicholas Hurrah! They strike 1-0. Check out that rebound here. This is a big hustle when you've got to give that pass off. And then that deep zone, then this rebound goes between the legs, then it goes right past him. Watch what it goes through our legs. This one goes right back and underneath the legs. That is a trick move. He almost got a little dirty look afterwards. Yeah, I can totally see what Nicholas Hurrah made. That one pushes back in the battle and a punch straight. They've now got it on 1-0 lead from the start. That's the first goal to start it off. So 1-0 starts off for Avalanche here in Mile High as they got first goal in the game and another goal in the playoffs. Here's Ross Colton. Colton spins around. He will now try to get a fend off to Nowitzki again to Brett Kulak. Kulak goes right over to Rural. And Rural sets to Nowitzki. He gives back to Rural. A pass out to Kulak. Avalanche working it up with the pass and pucking around the court. Ross Colton swings it out. Now here's Hartman as the Minnesota's on the attack. Minnesota trying to look for some answers. This broken up pass play will be given over. Nicholas Hurrah will give it back. Here's Kaprizov, and it's back over to Brett Kulak. Kaprizov shot, that saved by Mackenzie Blackwood. Hartman in trouble, and a rebound and stopped by Vic Blackwood. What a big save here for Avalanche. You got to start off for Mackenzie Blackwood. That's a big save, and you got a monstrous attack. Another save by the goaltender. He's really up to a quick start of it. You got a good release when you have it in. Rural sends around the pass. Arturi Lekkonen outside. He now finds Brett Kulak. He looks over to Makar. Makar swings in a shot off the glove and rebounded by McKinnon. Colorado swinging it in. A big drive, trying to look for the backhander, and a save by Philip Gustafson. Stop the play with under 13 minutes in the first period. We'll get another face-off. To my attention, I will send over to Zone Troop, and this time calling for is Cale Makar. Thanks, guys. Cale Makar is really one of the best sharp edges of the game. From playing in this playoff, this postseason is always a great blanket. The great way to have it is for Cale Makar. He's been playing so well and curricular. The better motion happens to be with only the elite edges. He's got great contact. Better ones to take. No one is better to be seeing how Cale Makar does for. I'm hoping to see his eyes on his redemption. With the sharp edges and his ending, it's a great way to see how it goes. Let's see how Makar makes with the second round of the first game. Back to you, Troy.
Thank you so much, Zoe Troop. And here's Shaq Drury right around the pass. He now finds Logan O'Connor. Here's Logan O'Connor, now finds Makar. He'll find over to Josh Manson. Manson looks to Makar. Makar takes a swing to Jack Drury. Jack Drury, nowhere to go. He'll reset it again to Cale Makar. Makar finds Manson. He looks at O'Connor. Manson looks to Makar. Makar shoots. Glove save by Gustafson. Here's Yurov the other way. That will send it to the bench, and it will be an out of play. Avalanche starting up with a 1-0 lead over Minnesota with 10:40 remaining nearing the midway mark. Brock Nelson wins the draw, and here's Brett Burns. He'll send it out. Round the bank pass in. And Quinn Hughes will take over to Eriksson Ek. Eriksson Ek slows his pace down. Stops in play. There's a shot. A save made by Mackenzie Blackwood. The Avs are back in the offensive zone as Brock Nelson will swing the pass to Manson. Manson, nowhere to go, and it will give it away behind Minnesota. Brett Burns will zip it over to Gabriel Landeskog. 9:30 remaining in the first period. He looks over to Brock Nelson. He looks over to Manson, now finds Makar. Here's Nichushkin. He shoots, deflects it off of the defender, and Faber will send it to Baldy. Matthew Baldy right in his zone. He shoots, saved by Mackenzie Blackwood, and will send a back pass around to Makar. Makar, deep pass to Gabriel Landeskog. Here's a turn pass break 2-on-1. No pass here, and it's over to give him out. Rebound by Minnesota. Right toward the wall. Rebound by Hughes. Well, it's still not enough to beat this time. I mean, Martin Natchez is really trying to get that knockover. That really is going to make that when someone trip out and could hurt. Cale Makar swings to McKinnon. 7:50 left in the first period. He now finds Makar. Broken up. Jared Spurgeon now finds to Jake Middleton. He looks to McCarron. McCarron sends it out. And a rebound by Colorado. Nowhere to find. It's off the net. Knocked him down. Back to Lehkonen. And now find over to Kulak. He looks over to Natchez. And he goes offside. Check out this last hustle here. You see Marcus Johansson, that is a skating on a knockdown, and that defender was a big hit. You cannot let him make a mess. Let's go back over to Zone Troop, and now I will stand in by. We have it across, Jared Spurgeon. Well, Jared Spurgeon is one of the best defenders. He could definitely have it all, the hardest and the one take to have it in. The answer of this game is for Jared Spurgeon, and he does have it all. Nobody to be playing for, but anybody can be better. When Jared Spurgeon has one of his defenders, he can definitely make some deeks, great ankles, and that makes him another angling to try to have that one stopping out. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that are watching on that, and hopefully no one will ever do for if Jared Spurgeon has one of the better defenders. This is a great range. I'm really watching this here for tonight and seeing, hoping for Jared Spurgeon with the great answers. Let's see how they answer it out. Guys, back to you. The win by Hartman. He now finds Jonas Brodin, and he'll look over to Jared Spurgeon. Here's Maxi Corella, the other way for Minnesota. Back to Hartman. Hartman to Kaprizov. That one is covered up by Blackwood, and he'll now find Cale Makar. Broken by Hartman. Here's Corella. Snapped it, and we'll have to cover it here for Blackwood with under 5:30 remaining. Pretty much a lot much harder than it takes. Colorado still in a slim lead, 1-0. The win for Minnesota. Over the net. That gets broken up with a stick. And Kelly will send it out. Well, you can definitely see that what's going on. And I know that is really hard, and what they have to say, if the broken stick doesn't get anything better with that. That needs to be replaced. Here's Seven Toes. A swing to Kelly. Kelly looks over to Toes. Toes shoots one. Phil Gustafson with another save. Under 5 minutes remaining in the first period as Zach Boguschon will have it cleared out. He rushes right toward in his zone. Yurov shot's blocked. Nelson will give a clear over to Parker Kelly. Kelly almost get knocked over. Yurov sets to Trennan. And here comes Trennan the other way. Trennan working in. Saved by the goaltender. Nelson around the back, and he now finds Burns. What a save. That's great on opportunity. This changeoff is not going to change anybody else's game. But whenever you see this, that's what's going to happen to have a Blake save out from Mackenzie Blackwood. All the way out, and icing will be on Avalanche. 3:13 remaining in the first period. They'll get a stop-on whistle before the end of the first period. Check what happened to Europe. And that is another big trend to have that one keeping it out. This clears it, and that makes a big hit. I don't see any problems with that, but Minnesota, they're trying to get right into work. Seemingly to look for the first goal and to tie things up for Minnesota as it's still a slim lead when they're in 3 minutes. With the win, here's the shot. Glove save by Blackwood. It's back to Brett Burns and off to Landeskog. The Avalanche are back in the offensive zone. You now find Nichushkin, and you'll give it a little send over to find again to Burns. Burns with the pass to Toes. Toes shoots off the Phil Gustafson. Rebound puts in for Brock Faber. Here's Johansson. Rushes in. A save made by Mackenzie Blackwood on the outman rush. Harrison Ag redirects it. And we'll get a stoppage here for Mackenzie Blackwood. And back to Burns. He's pretty much out of better goaltender is going to get there. That one is almost going to deflect it, and that would be a tricky play. Here's Martin H.S. Natchez slides back. He finds help from Artemi Lehkonen. Puck clears out. Brett Kulak will send it in the zone. And here's Brock Faber from Minnesota. That gets knocked down and an offside on Avalanche. We're nearing down to the end of the first period, so coming up next will be the first intermission as Test Tube and Son of Beast will be standing by to see what the first statistics look like. That's coming up after this. Final minute of the first period as he now finds Ross Colton. Colton's in, save made by the goaltender. Kulak now finds Malinsky. He looks to Kulak. Kulak shoots, glove save by Gustafson. You really got to put it up with a lot of heat there. That's a big save here by Phil Gustafson. You cannot let it get away. Here's Brett Kulak. And send the deep pass zone to Ross Colton. He'll free St-Skier and find Cord. Hartman takes it over, and here's Kirill Kaprizov. He's back the other way. Fires it, saved by Blackwood with 2.9 seconds. Just coming down to the end of the mark. It's still 1-0 Colorado. And Kadri wins the draw, and therefore we end the first period. Colorado starts with a streak-off in the first game against Minnesota. A big hit to Trulensis for the Wild as they keep on attacking. We'll take a quick break and we'll get you back with you shortly for the start of the second period. First intermission starts now.
Hey folks, welcome to the first intermission of the NHL and EA Sports. As me and Test Tube, we are standing in by for the first intermission of the Stanley Cup Playoffs second round of NHL hockey. The Avalanche is starting up with a 1-0 lead over Minnesota, and they took in it a strong start. This was a great one to see this first part of the game in round 2 at Mile High. Let's go over your takes about the total statistics for you, Test Tube, about the game. Well, I'm sure enough that they're really starting to show plenty of options. The offense is starting to do a lot of strengths, but the big hit happened to be with Minnesota that they're doing for. It's not really what anyone was trying to configure with anybody's room. No opinion does anything better, and I noticed that 88% over 82 turned out to be a lucky number, but only 12 hits was turned to be like it's even number strengths. 525 over 120-33. I think Avalanche are just one of the better team over Minnesota, but I don't think the underdog team has a chance if they could definitely try to keep on squeezing it. You know, this is a big problem with that. I mean, they're trying to watch for any plays that just knock off the defenders and probably offenders. Maybe this is definitely what they are looking at over it. I think the referees haven't seen anything like this. Now, let's see what happens with the action trackers on the other side of it. You see so many of each shots on the goals and some big hits that they did. That's definitely going to make them knocking things into numbers. The big one is no one does it the same thing. But if you see this big offense, that's definitely another turnover. Nicholas Giroux has gotten his first goal in the playoffs. That was his tip backing in the rebound, and he definitely had it all. That was between the legs, that he makes it in, and they have a 1-0 lead over Minnesota. Only one shot for Yakov Trenin, didn't get enough. Let's go over to you there, Test Tube, about the Minnesota Wilds, of how they were playing like a hit and better passing. Well, this passing effectiveness really hasn't started at all. I think there's one problem with this. If you don't start oftenly, you're not going to get it all cleaned out. This is definitely what happens with Yakov Trenin trying to get that shot. Minnesota teams are definitely knocking things out. No better standpoint does this, but if you're playing as Minnesota, you have to do the right job. Otherwise, other teams could knock you down. Okay, let's go over to you there, Son of Beast, about the Avalanche this time. What do you think of that? This big rebounding, this performance lead, how this effort lead makes that one a good start. Avalanche has been one of the harder teams to have it all remembered. But maybe, and might be why, we might be seeing things for the Avalanche that it can definitely start off with the first goal of the game and then just go up by 2. That might be my prediction that I be wanting to do for. We'll see what happens with that. And since I already made a prediction, what about yours? I think 2-2 is going to be a tie game here in Avalanche in Colorado. Maybe that might be why we wanted to see the Minnesota score their goals. Let's see if they can answer it back. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for Test Tube. And now let's go back to Mile High as Terry Crews stands along with the other guys to start the second period. See you folks later for the second intermission. Back to you, Terry.
If you're just tuning us here in Mile High, we're about to start the second period. So far, one period is down, and we have 2 more periods to go here in Mile High. Let's see who it takes in to earn the win. Alright guys, about the first period, let's have your recaps here and see what your takes are. Paulo, Boomer, what are your takes? Well, the start-off happened to be with the Avalanche. They did so well. I mean, the confident feeling is not a start-off that they really did for. Any playing games doesn't mean a thing, and we really know it was hard to get right to it. I really have seen so much of it. He scores! Ryan Hartman! Now they tied it up, unassisted with 1 minute on the spokes. Oh yeah, that's simply what happens in Ryan Hartman. You can see what happens with a lot of big saves by Mackenzie Blackwood, and then this causes the problem. He wasn't sure where Westbrook was going. Yeah, after you see that right shooting in there, and watch what happened with this. There's that rebound that goes passing right to the goaltender. You have no idea if that is going to go bang around or just by going under. That's really the hard way to get through this. And Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't able to have it enough. He was out of reach, and that was out of stamina. It's a big out of look change. Despite from the crowd here from only one period, another period has now gotten the first goal for Ryan Hartman unassisted from Minnesota. Now they tie this game 1-1. Yeah, I see so much of it. And what happens with Ryan Hartman, he got a long way down. I mean, that was really hard. He tried to keep it connected. No better pressure does anything. Here's a pass to Lekkonen. Lekkonen from the corner. Looks to McCarr. McCarr shoots one and a save by Phil Gustafson. Puck winds all the way back. He now finds Manson. Manson will feed things over, and this one will send out right around net. And here's Matt Zuccarello to find Kaprizov. Kaprizov trying to look off of the wheels, and now Brett Burns has got it back. Kaprizov, oh, what a save made by Mackenzie Blackwood. Brett Burns with the rebound for Avalanche. That's almost going to be a fortunate rebound. That was going to be played out badly. You know, that was just not really happening. You got to watch out with that.
Dominant goal, 1 minute in the second period. That's right.
Nelson now finds the Manson. Manson wants to switch it up a little bit.
Minnesota at 1 minute.
Change it around now, finding Dukushkin.
No chance here as he goes back into Juszczyk. The cutoff is stick lifted by Hartman. Brock Faber the other way. And Minnesota will take an offside here with only 16:34 remaining. So much to change for 6:25 or 1:45 for the timeout attack. And the big change of it doesn't really mean to be all of it. It's been a cruising, and just how controlling it is, that's what they are all expecting to do for. Like, nobody really stands at that point. It's just Avalanche that they're really trying to get that first goal in. But then the Minnesota Wilds, they definitely are looking to have it pursuing up. They have enough of this cool game and trying to stop the Avalanche at that point. And now what they need to do, they've got to try to find room. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is really going to change it all if they can. Oh, a big knockdown by Quinn Hughes on Landeskog. And that pass broken by Sam Malinsky. Yeah, he's really like up to an all target. I mean, I'm just really watching this from Malinsky, the pass over, and this one is taken away badly. Here's a shot, save made by Mackenzie Blackwood. A rebound by Nazem Kadri. He looks to Brett Kulak. He finds Nazem Kadri. Avalanche on a push. In the middle is broken by Jonas Brodin. The puck winds all the way back, and there'll be no icing here for Minnesota, as Makar will send a dish over to Rural. Back on ice is Rural. Good cut motion here, now finds the Nazem Kadri. Kadri stucks the corner, now finds Makar, he looks to Toes. Toes shoots, saved by Philip Gustafsson. Bolton now finds Toes, he looks to Makar. Makar sets to Toes. Toes shoots, deflected off of Bolton. And a rebound will be taken by Ryan Hartman. Dip pass over to Matthew Baldy. Big hit down here by Toes. That one stops down on Baldy. He really got a bit so much time afterwards. That is another big smackdown. The Avalanche really wanted to try to face it all with the gun. Here's Toes. Toes knocked down. No penalty on Minnesota as Gustafsson gloves it up. Well, you can definitely see what happens with the big hit. That true lenses is going to definitely make it all harder. No one is watching this. Oh, hey, if you're playing it as the Avalanche, you really have to watch out with that. Roy wins the draw. And here's Tarasenko. That one gets deflected off of Parker Kelly. Brodin the other way. Shoots it and a save by Mackenzie Blackwood. Drury will send it out of here now find Josh Manson. He looks to Brett Burns. He will now find Jack Drury. Drury shoots one and the glove saved by Philip Gustafsson. Knocked down with the hit. And Manson's got it back. He looks over. Here's Lehkonen. He shoots one. Save on the blocker. Lehkonen outside now finds Burns. He looks to Manson. Manson now finds Burns. Burns on the backhander. Another save by Philip Gustafsson. Nate just trying to watch his puck in control. Looks to Manson. Back to Burns. Burns shoots. He missed wide. Natchez now has it to Manson. Here's Manson. Deflects it. And another save made by Philip Gustafsson. And they're still going for the Avalanche. Burns regroups. Natchez shoots. And off the deflection it goes. Drury the other way now by Natchez. Burns shoots. Step made by Gustafsson. 10:48 to go in the second period. He's still saving it. Well, that big happened to be with Brett Burns. You only had one option. This is another big hit that they're really trying to watch things on. That one goes right over it. And you get defenders, you go right in your head-on collision. That's another and collaborating to have a knockdown with another player. A lot of time left to be played in this period. Still, the score is tied in Mile High. McKinnon wins the draw, and here's Burns now by Manson. He looks to McKinnon. Oh my goodness, what a save made by Gustafsson. McKinnon would have a leadoff. He would. He almost would have had a leadoff, and that almost impressed me. That was another great chance. Here's Martin Natchez. Natchez, wow, what a spin-off, and he couldn't get over by Brock Faber. Kicks the wall off the corner to Makar. Makar finding Toes. Toes regroups now by Makar and back on ice to Juszczyk. Juszczyk in zone. That's another save by the goaltender. Landeskog the other way. He looks into Juszczyk, shoots one. Save by Gustafsson. Ryan Hartman the other way for Minnesota. Now the Wilds go back into offense. They'll have their turn to get in. That broken up by McKinnon the other way. He looks at Toes. Toes drags it to Landeskog. Quinn Hughes with the rebound. Minnesota the other way. Pass off to Kaprizov. He looks to Zuccarello. A big knockdown by the bench. And Nichushkin now has it again over to Toes. Toes looks over to Nelson. Nelson goes right to Toes. Toes to Landeskog. Landeskog to Toes. Now he gives it over to Nelson. Back to Toes. Brings in. Stopped by Gustafsson. Under 8 minutes remaining in the second period, they'll have another puck drop ready. Here are the upcoming games as we have later tonight. It's the Minnesota Wilds as they're trying to have it tied up. But the next part of the game, the Pittsburgh Penguins as clutches the first round, and they are moving on to play at Carolina. And they'll be facing against the Carolina Hurricanes for the next couple of games that will be later tonight on the other hand. And tomorrow night, from the afternoon, it's big matchups between the Buffalo Sabres and the Lightning at KeyBank Center. And after that one for tomorrow night, Oilers and Golden Knights rematch again. Since the last postseason, you guys already noticed it before, but the Oilers have done so much of it, and they beat out the Golden Knights. How about the nighttime afterward, Apollo? Do you think they will win? I hope they will win. I am just sure enough that I would love to see them do it for it. No better chance than anybody. They can be only one, have a power night full of them none. Let's face it, if you're playing as Canadian team, you know that you're going to definitely be stamped around by the Golden Knights players. Don't let that happen. Here's Nicholas Ruau with only 6 minutes remaining in the second period. He waits, pauses. Nicholas Ruau, he goes down. No penalty on Minnesota. And Brock Faber is trying to get that one with the knockdown and the cross-checking defenders. Well, this is what happens with that. There is no penalty call. Referee's is not looking for anything. Even if it's a cross-checking, you have to watch out for yourself. You have no idea how that's going to happen. That is going to make that one mess up. Here's Drury. He got caught up. And rebound by McCarron. Under 5 minutes to go in the second period. You'll have that one clearing out of the zone, and Parker Kelly with the rebound. He'll fling this over again to Manson. Now over to Brent Burns. Warrior smack teams with the hit. Foligno the other way. Foligno pass to McCarron. Blocked by O'Connor. Hansen clears his zone, and it'll be an Avs icing as this will stop and freeze the play with only 4:03 to go. So much timing on the attack. Gabriel Landeskog trying to look for a slap shotter, and with another big win off, they wanted to get that one lead. Nelson wins the draw, and a big help here from Brent Burns. He's got it recovered, and now he will send things over to Manson. The Avalanche are back into offensive territory. That pass has already been caught up, and behind it is Zuccarello. 3:30 remaining in the second period. Right toward the corner, Gabriel Landeskog with another chance effort. Pass off to Manson. Manson trying to look for a leadoff here for the Avalanche team as Brent Burns at the corner. McCann fires it in a save made by Phil Gustafsson. Look at O'Connor now finding the Burns. He looks over to Manson. Finds Burns. Burns shoots. Glove save by Gustafsson. Jonas Brodin now finds it to Zuccarello. 2:30 remaining in the second period. A save made by Mackenzie Blackwood. Brett Burns the other way. This one will now send a clear over to Lekkonen. 2 minutes remaining in the second period. McKinnon shoots one. Another big save on a blocker by Philip Gustafsson. He's really doing all of it he can. Philip Gustafsson will have to feel that one with the big save of it tomorrow. Lekkonen now finding an Natchez. Natchez with a chance. Tries to get a slap off on the fade. Natchez trying to work things way around a little bit. McKinnon shoots another save by Philip Gustafsson. Natchez right to McCarr. Toe shoots. Blocked up. Rebound by Brodin. 5 minutes to play in the second period. Oh, what a great save of it. That is almost going to be a lucky bounce, but you have no idea how that is going to really take it out. You have no idea that it's going to happen. Natchez shoots. Globs it up by Gustafsson. Just 35 seconds remaining in the second period. What happens with Philip Gustafsson? That is another big rebound. And what a big save happens. Gustafsson, he really cannot get away with that. That really is a big segment, and you know it's a big draw. I know that's not going to happen. That really is a lot of work effort. We're nearing down to the end of the second period as we got the second intermission coming up. It's Son of Beast and Tetsuda will be showing us with the second period statistics right here in Mile High. Second intermission is coming up in just 20 seconds. Glove sponge made by Mackenzie Blackwood. And they're trying to look for the last push before the end of the second period. Blackwood and right to Nature's save made by Gustafson. The puck cruises on and we end the second period. One score happens to beat Minnesota, and it's still Ryan Hartman. Big rebound with just 1 minute in the start.
Stanley Cup playoffs.
Third period is next underway. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you shortly. Hey everybody, welcome to the second intermission of the NHL on EA Sports. As me and Test Super standing in by for a second intermission, we have a look at a right range between the statistics and see what they have. Minnesota has tied things up here, and Minnesota part of a great combination afterwards for the big hit in the SmackDown in Mile High. What happened to Colorado? They couldn't get enough because this was a big blocker and there was a lot of big knockdowns here for Minnesota. I think they're a better team to be playing over by the Avalanche, but they've got to watch out for carefulness to get that one out. Now let's have a look on the other hand of it if you have anything to see about this, what the statistics here look like. Well, I know that they're really doing it for, it's a little bit kind of tricky afterwards. Minnesota is really like making it enough harder in the chain. They just could not get another shot on goals. And because what happens with Colorado, they really are trying to do all what they can. And it's just not really easy enough. You have no idea how that's going to happen. When Minnesota plays like this, that's definitely going to have to make anybody that knocks the opponent down. You got no idea how that's going to change. That really is another big knocked over defenders on the offense that they're really trying to do for. In only 87, and that was happened to be with Minnesota. 88, it was only on Colorado. They played so well, but they got to get right into this. And let me tell you about this one here, Son of Beast. Because how well that Minnesota does, I don't think that's going to definitely happen. I think the mad scientists are going to have to show them off for revenge. And let's have a look at the total statistics here, the action trackers. Here's a little shot on the range, and then there is the goal that was right near the crease and over here. That was Ryan Hartman, who had his first goal in the game, and he has scored his first goal in the playoffs. That's where Ryan Hartman was going to get in. He wasn't really sure that was going to be easy enough. But as you can see, these are the other shots on the goal that did try to get a lot of commencements right on the other side of it. Alright, let's throw things off and how Minnesota had tied things up here, Testu. They just couldn't get off to a good start from the first period. But only thing happens. I know that's definitely what they gotta do. You know, nobody believes in that, and they really are trying to let Colorado score their own goals. And then when you don't think about it playing it, you really have to watch on your own. There is no time constipation. You have no idea if Ryan Hartman or the other guys are doing it for. Therefore, they just got it tied up, and that's what the goal is. How about you there, Son of Beast, about the Avalanches are trying to push their way off? I mean, pushing their way off is just a no ordinary limit. They've got to find another way to get through this. If Avalanche has no struggle to find it, that's because Mackenzie Blackwood is trying to make a lot of stops on the sponge. That's really hard to get through. You have no idea how that's going to happen. Because anybody that plays like this can obviously tell that Mackenzie Blackwood is a hard one to try to get rid of. But there's a lot of great goals connection here for Minnesota, and the Avalanche are trying to get that one passed by Philip Gustafson. And he's all alone. He got him pretty good afterward. Now, how about the third period at the end of the game? What's your scoring prediction? Minnesota. I'm believing that's going to be 3-1 over the Avalanche, and they're going to start things off in the first game. I bet Avalanche might have it all to make the win, 3-2 in overtime, so I don't know if it will be the right choice, but we're going to have to find out. Okay, well, it's 50-50 chance afterwards. I think the underdog might be better. Let's go back down to Mile High as we end the second intermission here. See you folks later, or after the game, or in overtime. Now back to Terry Crews. Welcome back, everybody, as we're ready to get started for the third period in Mile High. Two teams have tied things up But the third period must be determined to have the lead off. Let's find out. Alright guys, about the second period recap, let's see what your takes are for Minnesota as they tie things up for Ryan Hartman with a minute goal in. Well, a minute goal in happened to be with only one change of it. And I know that's really kind of hard for Minnesota to try to face the facts, but whenever you're talking it through, you just got to watch out with that. Anybody that does play that better, it doesn't really get anybody that's right out of the door. And nobody really has a chance, it just really has a harder one to get that one reception. Now, therefore, they've got to find a lead. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The leadoff needs to be changed off correctly. When nobody has anybody open, you've got to make sure you're really up to that hard change. The offenders don't have the right choice. It gets staggered down pretty quickly. Nobody does have it all if they wanted to face it. Here's Brock Nelson the other way for the Avalanche. Nelson, he flings it. Unblocking shot made. Goes up over to Mile High, and it's now back to Minnesota. Tarasenko now finds Zuccarello. A save made by Blackwood, and this one rebounds by Toes. Toes looks over to Landeskog. Landeskog pulls up with the break. Now finding Nichushkin. Corner from the Creasant. This time he looks to Brett Burns. Burns shoots one. That's not made by Gustafsson. 17-10 remaining in the third period as they're trying to look for the leadoff between Minnesota or the Avalanche. Well, they're trying to look that hard. Look what happened with only Ryan Hartman. The only one chance was every shot of it. There is no goal to have it defended. And then only one rebound has done it. And then when he gets over into the rebound and get it closely, you give that a little tip back, and that one gives it over. Ryan Hartman sitting underneath Velagno with only 12. And he's trying to look for his next goal to have the lead. They have to watch out with that. The leadoff level is not going to make a commencement to that. Whenever it changes, it needs to be settled in correctly. Avalanche on full pressure around in a chance zone. Save made by Gustafsson. Matthew Boney the other way for Minnesota. Oh, what a stop. That Folecto is going to definitely try to watch that one out. Nobody's watching him in there. If there's any chance to make that one play. Mackenzie Blackwood is going to cover things up with only 6:32 remaining in the third period.
You see that status from Gustafsson? What a save. Nicholas Rural was really trying to push things way in. And what happens with a lot of saves, it doesn't get commencement afterwards. That really was almost going to make that one a hard chance. No goal, but stopped him with a big save.
88/84 passing effectiveness going by here in the third period. And they're trying to look for another face-off win as the Avalanche will have it. Burns will send it over to Ross Colton, and he'll now find Condre. Stick clipped it as Jake Middleton has it over to Bogusian. Josh Manson with the rebound for Avalanche. He now finds Burns, and he goes over to Rural. Colorado back in offensive zone. Condre shoots one, and a save made by Gustafsson. Jake Middleton with the rebound has it over to Marcus Foligno. Here's McCarron. Manson taking away that one controlling. And now it's back to Jack Drury. He's back on ice. He'll now find Logan O'Connor. Logan O'Connor to Parker Kelly. That one stopped up by Middleton, and it's now Marcus Foligno the other way. Sticked it up too soon. And you'll have to take an offside as this one passes 15-minute mark in the third.
You know Mackenzie Blackwood is really giving a lot of hardness, reception, a big blocker in the save. You really have to show things off. Foligno is really doing so much playing in this offense, but that's for Mackenzie Blackwood. He saved it up with plenty of big effort. No way to change it off if you can definitely beat one.
A lot of time left in the period as they caught Trenton trying to look for the leadoff here. His shot of it doesn't really maintain it well, but he will try to see how he answers. And Drury wins the draw on a high skill level. McCarr rushing right toward the zone. That pass off is broken. And as Gustafsson will send it over to Middleton to have it rebounding group. Shot and blocked up again. Look out Trenton. Now finding over to McCarr. Trying to sling it to Drury, and he could not handle it home. Kelly finds McCarr. He'll now fling it over again. Now finding off to Logan O'Connor. Here comes the rush. Right to the zone. That shoots it too wide.
Logan O'Connor now find it up. Landeskog shoots one. Another save by Gustafsson. He looks to Urasov. Urov on the rush. Odd man in trouble. Hooked it by Toes. Toes got a great defender after it, and he now will try to get to Cale Makar. He looks to Nelson. Nelson, no group in. He looks over. The car shot blocked. Now goes to Nelson. Here's Toes. He shoots. Save by Gustafsson. Knocks it over right toward the wall, and it's Tarasenko to get away. Broken by Toes. Here's Landeskog. Landeskog in his own. Stop made by Phil Gustafsson. Nelson rebounds the puck. Malinsky shoots. Stop and goal. Definitely Gustafsson. We really have to show it often that Gustafsson was really needing a huge harder chain. No better action would do for him. Here's Landeskog. He'll fire that out of here. Brock Nelson right toward the wall. Now this will recoup by Malinsky. Kulak shoots, deflected off too soon of Landeskog, and this Quinn Hughes was sent to Johansson. Johansson looks to Tarasenko. Broken by Landeskog, and rebound by Brett Kulak. He'll look over to Brock Nelson that time. Nelson waits. Finds off to Kulak. Kulak goes down. Rebound by Beldie. Oh boy, the man rushing coming. Foley goes in. And this one is going to have to deny that goal because he went over the goal precinct. Yeah, I have to look at it again. I think that Marcus Foligno, he's way over the line. Now watch what happens with this. He gets pumped over by the goaltender, and yeah, that is going to be a goaltender interference.
The call on the ice
It will
stands
not
as
count
the
that as a
skater
goal.
crosses over
And then what
the
happens with
precinct,
this?
therefore we
That
have
gets
no
knocked
goal.
by the goaltender, and it's not going to happen. Yeah, he was right over it. Now watch what happened with this. He got him pretty stumped up, and that was not going to be a great defender call. That really is going to block it out. So the fans really appreciated it with only 10:49 remaining in the third period. No score being added to have that lead. McKinnon wins the draw. McKinnon, he gets over and slams it by. Here's our Terry Lekkonen. That pass to Natchez. Natchez looks over to Hansen. Hansen swings it, he scores! Arturi Lekkonen, and the lead 2-1. Look at that hustle here. That is another great defensive. And watch this middle. This is the deflection from Arturi Lekkonen. He goes right past the goaltender. Not right in front of net. When you see how that happens, and you just get a fling, and then that one is going to dip in by, that is another great goal. And you see what happens with Arturi Lekkonen. That is a big deflection. Right in toward the net. And then when it goes up high, that one is going to be by the goaltender by the glove. Know what you can do for it. That is a great start. 2-1 to score. Avalanche is trying to hold things up to a lead, and this Arturi Lekkonen, the first goal for the leader. Ryan Hartman knocked it away right behind the net, and he now finds Ross Kohler. Ross Kohler wins the break. Took down some Padres, broken by Brodin.
Oh, assisted by number 42.
Ross Kohler being laid out by Burns. Burns shoots one, another save by Gustafsson. Blocker stop made by Gustafsson. Burns shoots, he denied it. He got all of it that time. Only 9:20 remaining in the third period.
Arturi Lekkonen, his second goal.
So far, after the midway mark of the period, it's 2-1 Colorado. Still have a lot of plenty of fans' reaction to this point, but they're starting to look for another tie game here for Minnesota. So let's see if they find the answers. Right behind the back of the cage is Manson. He's stuck up by Matsu Corello, and he's got it back. A big stop and save made by Mackenzie Blackwood, and it's over to Josh Manson. He'll now send it over to Nicholas Rural. He'll give a swing to Kadri. Broken up by Jonas Brodin, and Trenton will have it over. The Avalanche are back in the offensive zone as Kadri now trying to pick it up. Kadri regroups. He'll swing over to Rural. Rural waits it. Patient to Burns. Burns with the wrister, and that one cannot go past Kelly to have that better rebound. Try to save off on Burns. Changes it over. Now finds Kelly. He looks over to Burns. Burns to Toes. Toes shoots one. Saved by Gustafsson. Starting to go with some full pressures. In zone to Toes. Toes shoots. Block the shot. And it goes right to Urov. Just 7 minutes in the books here in the third period of regulation. Now here's Shaq Drury, as he'll have to have another new line grouping change. And Foligno's got it back to Urov. Here's Toes on Urov. Urov on the backhander. That goes off of the legs. And back to Brett Burns the other way. They're starting to have so much time after this. This offense is really not picking up a lot of big tempo here. But in just that case, you just really have to watch what you're doing it for. No one has a better chance. No offense could definitely do for it. The backhander, what a stop by Gustafsson. 5:45 left to go in the third period, and they'll have another puck drop ready. 45 over 29 shots on goal. And as Colorado, they're one of the big favorites. They're up by 1. Now to win. That will be on Minnesota. Boguchan gives it over to Middleton. And rebounded by Artturi Lehkonen. Colorado back into Minnesota territory. Toes to Lehkonen. On a shot, blocked it up, and rebound by Natchez. Lehkonen now finding over. Arving edges. Easy save does it for Philip Gustafsson. Final 5 minutes presented by Discover as he finds Lehkonen. Lehkonen shot, saved by Gustafsson. 4:49 to go in the third period. Starting to look for answers in for the Lighters to keep up with a 2-1 lead to 3-1. They're starting to do often. They're doing offense as fast as they can. But as for Minnesota, they're going to have to try to punch it in if they can definitely do one. Kilmakar's got it right around the way. Wing again. A pass to Toes that time. He'll set a deep burst to Natchez. That's way out of reach, and Middleton will have it over again to Boguchan. Minnesota on the pushing attack. Eriksson Ek right toward in the corner. Try to stop on Makar, and Mackenzie Blackwood with another great save. This one goes back to Martin Natchez. Martin Natchez will try to make his way across to McKinnon. McKinnon, he'll swing it to Lehkonen that time. Had save! Kicked it out by the goaltender. Kulak finds Makar. Looks to McKinnon. Kulak shot. Stop me. Natchez up. Save made by Gustafsson. Gustafsson holding it in. Making a lot of time action without stopping it down. Yeah, you see how this big offense happens? Philip Gustafsson, what a wise save to take that opportunity. Artturi Lehkonen would have 2 more of his own goals, and his threat was 40%. Yeah, that was pretty big quick timing. I mean, wow, that's a threat. Now I will send it over to see who had the best player of the night. Is so true. Who do you think who had the best player in this game? Well, I'm going to say now that only happens to be one change-off to anybody. And it's Artturi Lehkonen who had deflected his own goal, and he did so well after it. You know, there is no better than stopping things down for Artturi Lehkonen, and he did so many like every other players. This is a great way to have it Martin Natchez and a crossover with a great pass on his own, Brett Burns. There's no change up to be denying it afterwards, but they really are starting to look for some adding in the numbers. Let's see what happens with this point, if there is an Avalanche to try to keep that one up, or Minnesota to tie it. It's coming down to a 90-second. Let's see if it's anybody's, or if it's going to be a great game. Back to you guys. It's back to Devin Toes. He looks to Landeskog. Landeskog chopped up with a shot. Last minute approach here in the third period. And that puck will clear that zone out of here. Toes will send it over to Malinsky. Malinsky to Nelson. Took a smackdown. Back to McCarron. 50 seconds in the books. No penalty on Colorado. Makar waits it across. Makar looks at Toes. Toes knocks him down, and Boldy's going to head off toward to the ice. Goaltender going to the bench for an extra attacker. Makar clears that out. Devin Toes is going to get it through. And he scores. Nathan McKinnon has done it all. Avalanche 3-1 to secure their first win of the game. Well, that's all you have to vote for. Nathan McKinnon was going to able to do it all. He was certainly ready. And then that pass, and then this is a big rebound for Nathan McKinnon. He done it all. Avalanche has secured its first win in round 2 against Minnesota. not a better team than you are looking for. But Colorado, they are one of the best teams to have it all playing afterwards. All across and better to try to keep those opponents out. Yeah, you know what? I always have to say, Avalanche have been better. No better than stopping things down, but I'm going to say this. You have to be playing it like you do it for real. And puck clears it, and that will end the game. Avalanche secures their first win in round 2 as Mackenzie Blackwood with the wildest save of the game. You have to see this to believe it. Mackenzie Blackwood is the finishing to have it on heart, and when you have no circumstance, you just have to play it for real. How about we salute to the fans? This has been a great pressure. Bernie, we've done it all. It's been a big favor to them. Thank you for everything. And hopefully we'll see them back in game 2. Well, that's all for you folks. Along with my broadcasting partner, along with Boomer and Apollo and the third commentary, Zone Truth, I'm Terry Crews, and you've been watching the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, EA Sports. There's plenty more actions and lots of things to go. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Good night and Mile High.
All right, thank you so much, Terry Crews. Time for 3-star players of the game. Third star starts Nathan McKinnon with only 1 goal and 5 hits. Only did this to have it when knocking down, but then this empty net goal only did that. The second star player of the game for the Avalanche goes to Mackenzie Blackwood with 29 saves in the game, and he looks at with a big sponge release to have that keeping out. And tonight's first star player of the game for the Avalanche to Minnesota is Philip Gustafsson. 48 saves is a big finishing to have that one released to keep things periods out. Well, that was all they wrote. Here are your final statistics of the games. 51 over 30 total shots on goal for Colorado over Minnesota. 34 hits over 28 for Minnesota. 1541 over 323 for Colorado time on attack. 86.7 over 85.3 passing effectiveness for Minnesota. And tonight's face-off win was 19 over 13 for Minnesota. Well, we couldn't appreciate with that. With the first game, outstanding win. Mad Scientist going for Avalanche. Man, they just could not get a win afterwards. Congratulations for that, Son of Beast. I guess your prediction was correct. Yeah, thank you so much. It's just, hey, it's because of anybody's game. You just have to pull the feeling to winning it. That's how you will have to do for. Well, folks, that's it for the first game. But don't worry, we'll get a long break ahead. And coming up later will be the Carolina Hurricanes facing against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stay tuned for the next game, as we'll be back with you shortly. But in the meantime, folks, if you're not joining with us, thanks for watching, and we'll see you folks next time. For as well as the Stanley Cup playoffs of the second round on EA Sports Style. This is Son of Beast and Test Tube signing out. Thanks for watching, and so long in Colorado.
If you don't, somebody will.